Just a few seconds. I can't see it on the Facebook side. Okay. Yes, we can start. So good morning, the people on this side of the oceans. Good evening, the people back home. As we've done this whole this I'm just looking at Nematua principle. As we've done this whole series, we'll take a 30 seconds moment of silence in honor of those we've lost to suicide. So yes, get your pose, do whatever you need to do. Let's take a moment of silence. Okay, because I never put a timer, it's never quite 30 seconds, but we welcome back my fake co-host who has ditched me for Shalom zimekuwa wiki ngapi? Tatu, mbili. Yes. So we welcome back my fake co-host who's my brother. You can tell from the forehead, my mother suffered through the labor pains for us. But welcome, Saya. We kick this off.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome again. There are many in clinical trials, in medical research, there's something we call clinical trials. Most of them are regulated, where a new substance has been created, we've tested it in the lab, and we've then tested it on big animals, and we come to the point we say we want to test it on human populations. And normally it's first at a controlled level before we scale it. That's a normal way new substances and new things are tried. But there are two things which, so to speak, human beings are going through simultaneously, what would be the equivalent of a clinical trial and an implementation, simply to mean we have no data on the effects of long-term use of some of these things, yet we're already rolling them. One of them is digital technology. We have no prior generation upon which we had pre-tested the effect of mobile phones and laptops and iPads, in a controlled environment, and seen and studied them over a long time before we unleashed it to the public. When it comes to that level of technology, what we are doing is the technology is rolled on and we are learning on the fly. And that's why at times, and many times, we are having a lot of jerky reactions. We're realizing, hey, this thing is affecting our children. This thing is impacting young adults. This thing is impacting work productivity, because, so to speak, it's an ongoing clinical trial and implementation. The second thing, believe it or not, is a concept of adolescence. So we don't have a 70-year experience, for instance, with the concept of an adolescence. It's a very new concept that was generated, and a lot of it was driven specifically by the marketing industry, the subset, that a certain fraction of the population can be teased out largely by demographic or age factors, and then targeted for marketing is pretty new. It's less than 100 years old, and it's an ongoing, so to speak, clinical trial. Historically or traditionally, whether it was in the West or in Africa, we did not have an age group that was ever left on its own. People were clustered definitely in age groups, but it was such that the age groups became easier cohorts to mentor and model. So when, for instance, in Africa, when people reached the age of circumcision, which was in what would be their early teens, they would be placed in the care of older individuals who would mentor them and model them. One place that this was effectively done was amongst the Zulu, where the impis, the warrior groups, consisted of older seasoned warriors and what we traditionally would now call adolescents or teenagers who would understudy the older warriors from a very young age. So they were not sequestered on their own and told to enjoy or figure life on their own and somehow be re-embedded back into life. In Europe and in the West, when people came to what we nowadays call adolescent age, they would be taken into an apprenticeship program where they would be learning whether it's pottery or blacksmith or leather work or woodwork or whatever craft their family was involved in. Never did we have, prior to 100 years ago, never did we have a time where people, especially in their teens, were, for some strange reason, sequestered out on their own, either for education or career or occupation purposes. And this stage of life was seen for what it was. It was a transition between childhood and adulthood. And rather than young people being left on their own to figure themselves out, they were supported. Now comes the merging of these two unmitigated clinical experiments. One is digital, that we're all in it, we're all learning, we're all being implemented. And secondly, is this concept of adolescence or teenagehood, that we are also, it's pretty new for many individuals. Imagine now what happens when the two have collided. And I'm not saying for today's discussion that those are the only two factors, but I just want to lay that as a foundation. Imagine when those two things collide. This whole digital space that we are figuring out, and this whole thing that we have largely created initially for marketing purposes and then now continuously trying to build a science to understand, it makes recipe for a lot of chaos. So right now, as an age group, as a definite age group, the people in their teens, and increasingly from research science, we're realizing that concept of adolescence, the process by which people move from being children to becoming adults, is not restricted to the teenage years. It goes all the way to the mid-20s and in some cases even to the early 30s, depending on a variant of factors, and is associated with certain mental and development cycles of the brain. In that time, there is going to be a lot of challenge. There's going to be development challenges, there's going to be identity struggles, there's going to be questions about purpose and meaning and all of those. Now imagine that being done in an unmitigated digital environment where people are being told they are what they dress, they are what they look, they are the number of likes that they get. And imagine this being done in an environment where parental or people with experience guidance is either wanting, absent, or they themselves are also still trying to figure the entire system of things that are bombarding the young people. No wonder modern statistics have told us that as a population, the current Gen Z and the millennials are amongst the most hopeless. Like if you compared boomers and if you compare the great generation when they were this age with how Gen Z and millennials are, we are more hopeless than the previous generation. No wonder right now schools and workplaces have to invest a bit way more into mental health resources for the next coming generation. And there is an increasing inclination towards suicide ideation and suicide implementation among the teens than it has been ever before in any preceding generation. Now, it's easy to speak about teenage, at this philosophical, argumentative level, but it is one thing when that person who takes their life is a cousin, a nephew, a son, a daughter, it becomes completely different. And for the sake of the next generation and for the peace of the current generation, we need to begin confronting these two things. Science will have to play catch up on some of these elements, but we as parents, we as uncles, we as aunties, we as bosses, we as employers or as employees do not have that luxury of time. We need to come in now and redeem what we can from our African past that helped mentor young people so that teenage suicide was not a thing amongst our African culture. What were resources that we had from there that we can use now? What did previous generations do right that we need to bring now? The science and understanding of the digital may need to play catch up, but the life of the teens needs to be saved. That's why we need to have an authentic conversation about teenage suicide. Back to you in studio.
Thank you. So this has been lacking for 2 days. I'm gonna make you feel guilty for for the other conversations. Okay, so let me give you, because we are people of science, let me give you the statistics from the US, because as we learned last week, we don't have stats in Kenya, but maybe Mukimba and Shalom will give us the anecdote from the ground VP. But in the US, suicide is the second leading cause of death. For the ages between 10 and 24. 13.6% of this age group have been contemplating suicide every time. And 22% of high schoolers have also been contemplating dying by suicide. And just last year, there were 3,700 attempts at dying by suicide. And you know, this is the country where my gun, my choice. We have many things people use, but of course, death by suicide in this country is they use lethal means, using guns and ammo. So what is the situation on the ground? What do we have numbers? And from your practice, what are the anecdotes? Shalom, because I can see you. Mukimba, tokelezea. Okay, Shalom. Let's start with you, Shalom.
Good evening. Wow. Diving right in. On the ground, we have definitely an increase in suicidal ideation, and also an increase, like Posa, you have just said, we don't have the full, I don't know whether anybody has done proper statistics in Kenya to see what the numbers are like. I mean, that we would say are reliable, like what you're talking about in the US. But I would say many, let me just say many adolescents, not most, but many have contemplated suicide. And out of those attempting, we are getting more and more succeeding, actually carrying it through and getting to the point where, yes, they have died as a result of suicide. Now, in terms of what's causing it, suicide has also become a familiar conversation amongst the younger generation. And therefore, we have a whole mix of young people who are using it as a threat and then therefore ending up carrying it out. Some experimenting and therefore having accidental death through some of those experiments. And we can look into some of those a little deeper. And then, of course, there are those who are dying by suicide as a result of serious mental health issues. So yes, it has increased, but they're getting there for different reasons. That's what I'd say I'm seeing on the ground for now.
Mukimba, your sides of the river, now that it's flooding, let's call it that. What are you seeing on the ground? I'm just looking at all our foreheads. My God, Atawe Joanne, I'm just useless, but just bear with me. Okay, Mukimba, go ahead.
Okay, hi, thanks for having me. I think the reason, or one of the reasons why statistics have not been available is because suicide is still a taboo topic to most majority of Kenyans, right? So a lot of the times it either goes unreported. Attempts definitely go unreported, that's for sure, right? But even the ones that are successful also don't get reported. So either there's a story given around the way maybe somebody may have passed on, but it's rarely something that is subject to conversation. But like Saya was saying, we have to figure out a different strategy to approach something that is definitely, it's here, right? Of course, it's in the increase. Of course, it's a tragedy, right? So one of the things we don't do is we don't equip our young adults, right? The reason a lot of people are struggling a lot more is because most people feel unprepared. So most people are given the generic education, the 844 system, or whatever system of education that it is that most people go through. But the struggle is that being able to find themselves in a place where they feel prepared at this stage in life. And it makes sense. A lot of us also aren't prepared, even as the adults in the picture, right? But it's more of a subject of more conversation to be able to get ourselves to a space where everybody feels, at the very least, we are sharing the resources, the little that we have, right? So if those go around, maybe we can start having conversations and be able to get to a space where everybody is chipping in just a little bit, and then we can harambe all of that in terms of resources and maybe get solutions to everything that young adults are going through.
Okay, for I don't know. So what happened? Because this current 10 to 24-year-olds are babies of older Gen Xers and boomers, right? What did we, because Shalom, we are Gen Xers over here. What did we Gen Xers and boomers do to create teenagers and young adults who want to die by suicide? When did the ground start beating us? Okay, let's start with Saya, then whoever pops up on my screen at end. Saya, what did we Gen Xers and boomers do to our progeny? Saya ameenda kunywa uji. Okay, Mukimba, because you're on my screen.
Okay, that was the first thing, resilience, right? We have built a generation that does not have resilience. I think because we do not have physical adversity, right? Most of us have been able to meet the basic needs, right? So we never prepare our children to be able to deal with life on lifestyles, right? So most of them find themselves in a space where everything has been so easy, and as soon as any form of adversity, especially psychological adversity, because at the end of the day, we do build psychological resilience from physical resilience, right? So oftentimes people who have gone through adversity, and I'm not saying this is in respect to abuse and allowing environments to be adverse, right? But we also need to give young adults the tools to feel ready to deal with life on life stamps. Because I saw an incredible video by Michelle Obama where she was saying your children's first experience of injustice, of things not going the way they are meant to go, right, should not be happening outside the home, right? That shouldn't be the first place, because if that happens, they don't have the equipment to deal with it. If it's happened before, there's a conversation and a dialogue that can be had around that. Yeah. So you can be able to say, you know what, sometimes, yeah, things don't go the way you want them to go. We also have raised a generation where everybody is a winner, right? So I do find a lot of young adults with that perfectionist mentality, right? Where everybody assumes they're a high achiever, right? So when they're faced by an environment where they're unable to feel like the high achiever, which happens to every single one of us, right? And resilience. But basically, I think the term is resilience. Resilience obviously is built by a lot of things. Physical resilience makes a huge difference. So children are found, young adults who participate a lot more in extracurricular activities and things that are not just academic based tend to also have a lot more resilience, because there's a lot of winning and losing in that aspect. Coping tools also go a long way, and close connections also build resilience. But at the end of the day, I feel the difference between the generations before, there was a missing of basic needs being met, right? So people knew what life being unfair looked like, right? But these children are being faced by their first reality outside of the home, right? They're faced by bullying outside of the home. They're faced by all these experiences, but they've never gone through anything that has ever made them anywhere close to uncomfortable, which obviously is not a realistic way to be left out to the world, to go attend to the world without the ability to know that sometimes life isn't fair, sometimes we lose, sometimes, we gain some things, we lose some things, we fail, we are able to succeed in some things. There will be places where we will miss the mark. So resilience, I feel, is the one thing that the generation that I find coming to me, which is obviously that age 13 to 25, they struggle with, because their first case of adversity is mostly outside of the home.
Shalom, same question, and there's one Mukimba saying, applying to my village. Which village are we in? We're in Namasoli village. Am I Namasoli village also coddle children, so to say?
You know, I think I'm going to start writing down the villages that you keep naming every time we have a session. So today's is Namasoli. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll answer the first part. What did we do in terms of the Gen X, and we are the parents? I'll say we because, you know, I have parented children of that around that age. We carried on the language that we were brought up with without transferring the support mechanisms that we were brought up with. So to add, I mean, this also contributes to what Mukimba is saying about resilience and not building that resilience, is that if my parents told me, enda ujinyonge, or go hang yourself, or a friend actually told me that, I didn't take it as literally at that time, but what I did was absorb that language. So we as parents have come forward and are saying the same thing to our children, but they don't have the same support mechanisms that we had to withstand that sort of language when we were young. So we have parented as we were being parented when it comes to discipline, but not strengthened them or build that resilience in the same fashion. So it's half-baked lessons that we have carried over as parents. That's one of the things I think it is. Then the other one about the winning, everybody being a winner. I like asking this question, especially when people are wondering, you know, but what's up with our children? If we look at these kids, they have hurried into adulthood so fast that there's almost nothing more to live for when they get to a place of helplessness. So I'm not talking about the one who is a spoiled one. I'm talking about somebody who has grown up, had their first graduation when they were 5, 6 years old. They're being parented by somebody who graduated when they were, what, in their 20s, because that was out of campus. And so you find that they have gotten everything too fast, but this everything that they're getting is grown up. It's not everything that a child should have. It is everything as far as being a grown-up is concerned. So they're being asked to grow up. There's an author called David Elkind who talks about the hurried child. We have hurried them into adulthood so fast that we have half-baked adults who don't have what it takes to withstand the troubles of adulthood. Now, as for your village mates and the young children in the Namasoli, the young people in Namasoli, I do not think that they're necessarily growing up entitled, but at the same time, I don't think they're getting the support that they would have gotten. The Gen X parent there in Namasoli is having their own economic struggles, and they watched their parents. I think I would say their adult parent is struggling the things that we were talking about last week and the week before. They are the women and the men who are suicidal. And so they have not equipped their children well enough. And because of the whole globalization, it has reached Namasoli. When somebody is told, go kill yourself, they know that that is an option. And you'll find that is probably the language that's happening back there. The frustrations are more in Namasoli, especially when it comes to parents and their economic status and things like that. So I'm finding they may end up struggling. Now, the other thing is a misunderstanding of mental health. Because of the struggles that we are going through, the people in Namasoli don't have the same education that will let them know that this could be depression. And so we may have cases there that are going undetected and diagnosed, etc. And therefore, we end up having suicide back there. Also, they are getting, because you're looking at adolescents, they're getting the same pressure a kid in Nairobi is getting. So when they do not get the A's in education, they are at the place where they're so frustrated because that A is what the parents needed for them to get out of poverty. So the burden they're carrying also back there is also quite heavy, I must say. Yeah. I think let me stop there and then we can continue.
Okay, Saya, have the thoughts been collected?
Yes, they have.
Okay.
So I'll answer this from two lenses. One is a learning designer lens, and then the other one is an African historical lens. So in learning design, there are 3 levels. There's what you currently know is your zone of comfort. It's things I can wake you up and you can do in a heartbeat. There are things you're good at, okay? You can cope with, you're okay. Immediately after it is a zone of learning. In the zone of learning is things which you don't know now, but with the tools you have, mental support and what have you, you can be able to, they will stretch you. So the learning zone is where you're stretched. The third rim is called the zone of overwhelm. It's the place where with the tools you have now and the experience and support you have now, if I asked you to do anything within that realm, it'll snap you, okay? It'll snap you completely. So what's the difference between is, and I personally think, like, for instance, right now, digital world has accelerated, it's increased our access to knowledge, but it's also painted things a bit unreasonably, so that I think one of the things, therefore, that become unrealistic, both for the teenagers, among the adolescents among themselves, and the guardians or the support people for the adolescents coming to them, is they're consuming all these unrealistic expectations. And when you scour the online space, for instance, you find a lot of opinions that are being shared as if they were facts. There's a lot of fads and as poor and shallow reasoning, but that's really what's flooded the space. And so when you take those expectations and use them to either parent, or when you take those expectations as an adolescent and begin thinking this is what you should be, it moves you from your zone of learning, where you're comfortable right now as a 10-year-old, as a 9-year-old, and instantly propels you into the zone of overwhelm. So you begin having these unrealistic expectations about yourself, or parents are having all these unrealistic expectations about you. And so people are being moved from learning to overwhelm and bypassing the stretching zone. That's one. Then the second thing is, I think what we had different from what the previous generation has different from the current one is something you learn from earthquakes. Buildings that are made earthquake proof are made flexible. They are not made rigid, okay? They're not, the foundation is made in such a way it can sway without snapping. And so if you think about the foundations of individuals being the worldview and its attendant belief structure around it, there have been deficiencies in transmitting worldview. And here, it's not just even the Christian worldview, even the secular worldview has got so many holes in it. And every person, regardless of what they are, whether they live in Namasoli or they live in Nashville, everyone has a worldview to it. The problem is a lot of the worldviews or the undergirding assumptions people make about life right now are largely untested and unthought through. So they're consumed uncritically, largely through movies, music, entertainment, one-liners, Twitter. So people have these assumptions about life that they have not drilled through, that they have not thought through, that they have not been able to internalize them. And every worldview will be tested, and mostly will be tested through loss, delay, denial, death, or adversity, some form of it. So when most of them are therefore tested, they are found to be rigid and not flexible enough. They are not able to withstand the shocks of life in a way that helps them swing right back and center them. And so here is a failure in whether you're steeping your children in secular human thinking, already you're steeping them in even Christian belief, without helping them drill down to what it truly means and how it responds to the realities of everyday life. It ends up being in a situation when rubber finally meets the road. These kids don't have the tools to navigate what it takes to navigate those particular situations. That I think the second. Then I think the third problem, or the third cause for this, is we have, and we is my generation and above, you know, early millennials going backwards, we overcompensated for the flaws that our parents brought us up with. Now, I'm not in the bandwagon for our parents were only abused. No, our parents had a lot of love. They taught us very many important things. But there are things which, because they're broken, they're human, they're flawed, they're sinners, and they did that were wrong. And so I think our generation, to a large extent now, has overcompensated for that and has denied this coming generation something very important, and it's called struggle. Okay? I think every human being needs to be given a measure of struggle. And struggle could be in many, instead of helping a kid make the jigsaw, help them figure out. Instead of dispensing answers, help them be able to drill down and build the muscle of critical thought and reasoning. And so our generation is really responsible for this in our effort to eliminate struggle from the lives of the young people. It has ended up in a situation where they have not built the muscle. The struggle is needed, an amount of struggle is needed to provide the resistance, both physical and mental, through which individuals are able to build that what Rahedi was pushing, resilience. So resilience is not just imparted. Resilience is actually imputed. It's built, and it is the effect of struggle. And we have done an exceptional job in removing struggle. And now the problem is our parents went through hard times and became strong men. And because they were strong men, they made easier times. And now we have made the easier times even way more easy. And the end result is it's watered down the struggle element that is needed to build the mental and the physical resilience. So I think those are three factors I would think in agreement with what Munyiri and Rahedi have added.
Okay. So then let's circle back to the issues you both Mukimba and Shalom had brought about, the things that innately, like uniquely affect teenagers, the things that cause them to either attempt or die by suicide. You know, the issues of bullying, social media, mental illness. Ground, you know, from the US side, these are issues which are known. But qua ground again, okay. Saya has said we don't say qua ground. Qua maji, what we are gonna make fun of. We are Kenyans. We have to make light of every situation. But qua maji, mambo VP. What are the other issues that are leading teenagers to either attempt or complete suicide? Shalom, because you were smiling. We'll start with you.
I think you have mentioned a lot of the issues that are coming up. Bullying is a big deal, and bullying has become a whole lot more public. So when they're not just bullying in their small circles, they're bullying wide and they're recording it and then sharing the bullying. And therefore, bullying is extending beyond the incident itself. Therefore, leading young people to actually feel, I can't face the world. I can't go out there. They're going to know who I am. Then there's the element of helplessness. I think Saya has brought up a whole lot of it. When we remove the struggle and we have not equipped these young people with the muscle to actually fight back, then really when they face any small hardship, I'll call it small because it's small from the view of a person who's strong, but not small from the person facing it. When they face any of those struggles, then they have seen the only way out is to get out of here. Love is another one. We have brought them expecting love and expecting love to be shown a certain way. So when you don't declare your love for them, they think that anything else is a declaration of lack of love. So nobody loves me, nobody likes me, nobody wants me kind of thing. They're laughing at me. they have become so used to being the center of attention that when they don't get it, they feel that the opposite is true. So there's a lot of, related to that rigidity that Sarah was talking about, there's a lot of black and white thinking. If you love me, this is what you're going to do for me. If you don't do this for me, then you don't love me. And therefore they get dejected and eventually get to that place. I think I mentioned earlier about threats. Children are not facing consequences for basic threats when they're like 2 years old. And therefore we are forming very sick relationships with our kids. So if a child at 2 threatens to spit out their food, and then you laugh or find it funny or solve the problem for them, etc., without starting to teach them consequences, then they relate with you by issuing threats. And every time a child threatens something and then we backtrack and we're afraid of them, then we start developing that in their mind that, you know what, this is what I can threaten to do. And sometimes, like I said, I have known cases of accidental deaths where somebody was doing it as a threat and then it ended up happening and they died by suicide. Or, yeah, and so I don't know whether we would necessarily call that fully suicide, but because they were threatening to kill themselves, when they succeed, then it will be called suicide, even if it was under threat. Then there's isolation. We are bringing up children alone. I'll take affluence as one of the examples. We make money. So let's start with, we have fewer children. Therefore, our children are growing up alone in the home itself. Then we become affluent and move to places where we are isolating ourselves. Therefore, not just gated communities, but gated houses within the gated community. And therefore, what do I call it? Getting the child to a place where they don't have friends, they don't have somebody to talk to, they don't have somewhere to release that tension that they may have. So we have children who don't have friends, children who are not allowed out. You want them in, you don't want them on their gadgets, you don't want them asking questions, you don't want them reading. So they are pushed to a corner and they feel the only way out is out of this world. They don't know that there's a world out there, outside of their gate, outside of their house, outside of their school, that can actually support them as human beings. So they opt out of the world as a whole and therefore choose to kill themselves and end up dying by suicide. The other thing that's happening is experimentation. I've seen cases, and I've had a couple of them, where somebody died by accident, but because it looked like suicide, then another one attempted to kill themselves because they could not live without this person. So this particular case that I'm thinking about when I talk about this is a case where somebody took drugs and ended up overdosing, but threatening they will kill themselves before they actually overdosed. So after they die, the person, and well, around the time that now they get into the shock, the following of coma, and then getting into hospital, and eventually they die, this other person attempts suicide because they can't believe that, number one, that person has left. Secondly, they feel like they were part of the story, and therefore they believe that they too should die. So we have places where we're having either copycat or that hopelessness of I can't live with someone, and therefore they end up attempting the suicide themselves. The other thing that we have is role models killing themselves. We are having cases of dejection, and this one now, I haven't had yet somebody who's attempted suicide, but it's somebody who has felt like, so the suicidal ideation level, because a role model also committed suicide or died by suicide. They come and say, if they were so strong and they can't, how about me? And so suicidal ideation also starts growing from there. And because the teens and adolescents we're bringing up now are very impressionable, those are things that really matter. So I want to echo what Mukimba was saying. We need to be having conversations about building resilience. We need to be giving them places where they can have that tough love. Now, one of the areas, and I don't know whether I'm getting ahead of myself at this point, one of the areas where struggle happens is outside of the home relationship. So you'll find there's, when children go for camps, and it's school camps, it's the President's Awards, it's sports camps and things like that, because the camp facilitators are not their parents, they build a relationship and encourage them to do something hard. So we are finding that children who end up having those extracurricular activities that take them away from home to a place where they are under the charge of somebody else are building resilience a whole lot better than those who have their parents to take care of them. Because parents do two things. They either over-discipline or over-protect, therefore not giving the child time to build their own muscle and to build their own capacity or to feel capable when it comes to handling life staff spaces. Yeah, let me pause there for now.
Mukimba, before you take a stab at this, I'd just like to comment on the camp issue. This year, because most of you know we belong to the Adventist faith, every 5 years is a large camp meeting, like camping that happens in the US. This year it's happening in the state of Wyoming, and we get everyone from everywhere, the whole world. And for Kenyans here, we are asked to host Kenyans from Kenya, and without missing, all of us do not want to host our teenagers from Kenya. Why? Because they're lazy, they're entitled, they don't do, the way camping is hard, they want everything to be done for them. They want a hotel lifestyle on a campground. Yeah. When you just brought that up, that just came to my mind. So Adventists coming to the campody, just know, being put on notice. When you see your people here don't want to host you, it's because of the way tumelea watoto wetu, for lack of a better word. That is the best I can put it as. Mukimba, the same on the ground, on the river, on the swamp. What are you seeing?
Okay, I wanted to address something first, right? I saw a question on the comment section about this one-time, like attempting building resilience as a one-time thing and having the wrong results, right? And I really want to reiterate this, that resilience is not a one-time circumstance. This it will not be sufficient. This conversation and going back to your children and having that one-time conversation is not enough to build resilience. It's not enough to build connection, right? So it cannot be done as a one-time thing. It can't be done as a one-time attempt and then we throw our hands up in the air that it's not working to give them this tough love. So it's very important to consider that the resilience that we're talking about is something that's built over time. It's a conversation and a connectedness with these children from when they are young. And even though you begin now, it will not be, the results are not magical, right? It will not happen that next week your children will feel prepared. It's also a muscle. We have to start small. If your child has never experienced any adversity before, they might not need to go to the camp in the wilderness as their first attempt at resilience, right? They may need to do house chores for a little while. They may need to know how to make their own beds. They need to do a couple of things, probably go to the shags, get to a little bit of toughness through that before they get sent off to this big, the muscle has to be built, right? So I think that's very important. Something else that I feel is the reason as to why a lot of young adults commit suicide is the lack of connectedness to a trusted adult, right? Most of these people, the only connection they may have are their peers. And that's incredible. It's good to have friends your own age. But it is very important to have somebody who's gone through the phase of life that you are in and has made it through. So that the assumptions and the black and white thinking and the all or nothing thinking is not as shared as knowledge. But most of the children that I have in my counseling room, despite their parents thinking they have incredible connections with their children, most of them don't think they are close to their parents. The reason as to why is I feel that a lot of adults connect with children on their terms, right? So you've come from a POSA chat, you're like, oh, authentic dialogues, I'm going to go have a conversation with my son, right? You have not talked to this child in the last couple of weeks, and you're like, oh, tell me about everything. Tell me, are people doing this? And you feel like it was a wholesome conversation. But we have connection with young adults on our terms, on our schedule, when we feel like it, right? When most of the times fear-based, because maybe there was a suicide case and we had that and we were like, oh, okay, we need to have this conversation, right? And so most of these young adults don't feel like you are the trusted person who they can come to when now things are actually going wrong in their lives, right? Because that connection is not two-way. It may feel that way to you as the parent, right? But for them, it's not the same because you've never connected with them on their terms. Yeah, it's really important to start considering that, the same way your friend is your friend, right? You would have to have both been mutual in the connection, right? It can't just be when you feel like it, you call them for a cup of coffee. Once in a while, it's going to be the other way around, right? So the same way, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort, yeah? And it takes a lot of patience. You have to know your kids, right? Don't just know the friends that you don't want them to have, right? Know the friends that you do want them to have, right? The conversations don't always have to be fear-based, based on experiences that are happening outside, because I feel like that is a common trend I've noticed with parents, where something bad happens in the news, we just go in complete emergency mode and we are like, oh, no, I need to connect with my child right now, right? They are not prepared. They are not together with you, right? And then it doesn't bear the results that you think it will. So I feel that the connection with a trusted adult is very important. That could be you as a parent, since you're the one who knows what you want to input in your child's lives. But I think it's also, I noticed Saya said that it's also for uncles and aunties, right? You want to be that person for this young adult. They need that person that they can quickly go to. And to be honest, they can have several. They can have their parents, they can have their aunties, they can have their grandparents, but they need to have an actual connection with these people. You can just call your brother who's never met your child for the last 5 years to come and talk to your son because you feel that he's gotten a hard head now all of a sudden, right? Connection has to exist before we start pouring out all this incredible information and all this urgent information in an attempt to probably build their resilience or in an attempt to give them the tools that they need. For me, I've noticed that might be the one that at least hasn't gotten a lot more. There was also one more, body dysmorphia. I've noted it of late, especially with young girls. A lot of girls have very unrealistic expectations, especially even in our country right now. There are a lot of young girls have very unrealistic expectations of what they should look like. And it's insane that actually causes a lot of self-harm and actually a couple of cases of suicide. So among the ones that have been mentioned, I felt those were the two that maybe hadn't gotten attention.
So I'm just wondering, there are two things you've brought about, the lack of connection. So if we could talk about, the busyness we've had, we are job trotting, our children are being brought up by house helps and shamba boys, and the body dysmorphia. How do you connect this to the surge of BTS Korean movies? Because I feel like the body type, the skin type that this Asian surge has had on our people, I think it's worse than what Hollywood has done to our people. But that's in my opinion. If you could comment on the two things, the job trotting and being taken care of by house helps, and the effect of BTS and Korean things on the body dysmorphia and suicide, because there's also a lot of suicide coming from that entertainment world. Mukimba, you're on my screen. Shalom is far away too. So start.
Okay. For the connection, right? I think of connection as love-based, right? And a love requires spending actual quality time with the people that you claim to love, right? Now, with the distance that, especially when you're not involved in the actual nurture of your children, I think even that desire to be there for them when it's not an urgent need or a responsibility issue is a struggle for most parents. Yeah. So a lot of provision is necessary. I think there's a generation that tried to overcompensate for what they didn't receive. And now there's an attempt at giving your children a lot of material things that they lacked. But I think at some point there is an enoughness, and now might be time to set aside some time for connection. So, of course, leaving your kids in somebody else's care who is not a person who is in alignment with your values. You see, at least if you're leaving them with one of the parents, right? So you're two parents and there's an extra parent who is doing the nurturing, and then there's one who is going out to work, right? At least you're in alignment with your values, right? So you can be comfortable with what your kids are receiving as information, as even the connection that they're getting. But obviously, house girls, they're not necessarily people that you sat down with, or even if some of them do have training these days, they still can't be a replacement for parenting. But there is a comfort because nurturing is actually a very super hard thing. And a lot of people, if there's an option to do that, of course, it's easier given that responsibility, but then there are consequences to that because you have not spent quality time with this child. And of course, the endorphins have not been produced. So there's no actual sensation of love, and that connection cannot exist. For the body dysmorphia, I feel it started with millennials. We began a trend of a lot of not liking ourselves for how we look like, and it has just gotten to the extreme. I feel the inner critic surrounding the body, the way people view themselves is getting worse and worse. Yeah. Social media also has a tendency to present information, and even just mainstream media has a tendency to present information as fact. So despite the fact that Kenyan streets have a mixture of all body shapes and body sizes, for some reason, it's believable to them that what is presented is the only option. That either I also had, it's called pretty privilege, it's called skinny privilege. There's all these addressing ways in which, of course, that is better than what you are, right? And a lot of eating disorders have come up as a result of this. Now, maybe that might be something that is more a case of not the Namasoli people. So, but either way, it's still an issue. But I feel like each has different adversities. But the connectedness, I feel like even Namasoli is also not doing the connection that it needs to. And neither is also, the one from the larger, more affluent areas. Neither is spending actual time with their children.
Before Shalom, whatever, for the Namasoli people, Saya, could you comment on the on these husbands who come once a year to shads? I don't know. You're in my head, so you understand this question even before, because I haven't asked all of it fully. But just the connectedness, our Namasoli peeps and their papas who come once a year to impregnate and go back to the city.
There's the father serves very in those scenarios, and I'm at this point also just adding there the guy in Nebraska and the families in Kenya. It's pretty much similar. Connection happens when you do life together. Connection happens at the speed of life, especially for children. So if the child is going to go for a whole term or a prolonged period, and you're not able to be present to check the development day by day, celebrate their joys, and correct them at that point, and able to show a mixture of both love and discipline, or should I say love both in affirmation and love in discipline, then you shift slowly in the eyes of the child to either be the tool of threat. I mean, in that sense is when the mother wants you to behave, she says, you wait for your father to come, I will tell him. So you just become you end up being viewed as a tool of threat, or you become nothing more than an ATM, the person who the child goes when I need X or Y or Z. It happens when the father is around, or we will ask dad and he will send dollars, or we'll ask dad and he'll send shillings. So you begin the relationship the son has with you or the daughter has with you in that case then becomes no more than the relationship people have with their ATM machines. As a result, when the child has reached teenage, you have not earned the right to speak into their life or the right to inquire into their life. Because when you now begin requesting for more access or making certain claims upon the child is as confused as you would be if your ATM began making certain claims, or if a random policeman began making certain claims or intrusion into your life. If you're not connected to your child, in both cases, the fathers working in the urban areas and abroad. And by the way, nowadays even happens with mothers. I'm seeing lots of single mothers who leave the kids either the grandma or somewhere and are elsewhere. If you're not connecting with your child that way, then there's no trust, there's no reliability, and secondly, someone else or something else is teaching them. So just like what Mukimba has been commenting about, the children therefore consuming the anime or whatever else they're consuming, which is giving them the views about life and about themselves, something or someone else is teaching them about sexuality, about identity, about success, about what it means to be truly human. They're being shaped by something or someone else. And in many cases, I'm not looking down on the house help. I'm not looking down on the shamba boys. But you see, we don't often choose our shamba boys and our house helps from the cream. Okay, many of them are actually also dropouts or people who've fallen onto hard times and have not had time to, have also not been beneficiaries of great parenting themselves. So these individuals who they themselves need parenting are technically the ones who are parenting our children. Often, many of them are underpaid, overworked, and verbally or otherwise abused. And therefore, they also directly or indirectly become a source of some form of verbal or otherwise abuse or neglect to our children. So imagine all of this is compounding, that the child has these tensions, just normal and natural to the growth process. The child has these questions, normal and natural. And I'm seeing a lot of data about body dysmorphia and gender dysmorphia, and especially amongst girls. And many of them are being urged, for instance, to immediately think that they are trans, when really all they just needed was good parenting to tell them, hey, what you're going through is typically normal for adolescents. It's just your body readjusting. And so as an end result is these children, because lots of the teenagers are exactly that, these children are either forced into a premature adulthood, or they end up thinking, you know what, getting out of this is an easier way, because the person who they, in their heart of hearts, would have wished to be significant in their lives, their father or their mother or a parent, is no longer there. And when life begins becoming all over the place, or they've not been given the tools, or the people who are giving them the tools are giving them the wrong ones or inadequate, these kids end up falling a bit short and by the wayside. So it's a long thing. One more quick thing, Paul, before I hand it over to you, is on the question about the whole Asian film and its impact. It says to remind individuals a few things, that ideas have consequences and bad ideas have victims. And that what kids consume online, or on TV or on whichever flicks they are, isn't neutral or harmless entertainment. It has an undergrade philosophy. Now, before you begin thinking, yeah, there goes another guy who will demonize every media and stuff. No, I'm saying, if children are going to watch this stuff, adults need to be in the room, not to regulate, but to debrief. Because I think those moments become very good moments for you to unpack about, hey, what philosophy do you agree with this? What do you think about this? This character say this. What do you think about that? It helps you know your child, and it also helps you use those moments as they happen as teaching moments. Now, if you're the father who is in the urban centers and your children are consuming this in a different location, you completely lose that opportunity. And 10, 12 years of doing that, you're coming up against a serious backlog when the time comes. Yeah, my thoughts.
Shalom, whatever train of thought we are on, I'm going to add something. So my Namasoli people are not viewing and rotate, hopefully. My God, I hope not. But we've seen the influence that it's been having on our teenage sons, on top of whatever our current train of thought, or nimekuongezea and rotate. I know. What do you mean you can chapa me?
Yeah, when we meet, I'll definitely chapa you. Yeah, our train of thought has gone to different stations. Let me pick something that you had talked about, camp. When we're talking about camp earlier, if I can just bring us back there a little bit. I think adults should be confident enough and own their spaces such that when young people come into their space, they're the ones setting the rules. What this means is to find a nice way of actually saying this: my house, my rules. So if I bring my teenager for that Adventist camp you're talking about, as opposed to telling me that I have an entitled teenager, welcome my teenager and tell them this is what we do in this house. I like the way you're shaking your head. These teens are able to follow some rules in school, so they have an idea of what rules look like. And the reason why they follow rules in school is because school has been packaged as the place where rules are going to be followed. But they end up not following the same when they go and visit people's homes. I have found such situations even in my place. I mean, just hosting other people's children who you're thinking, like, who brought you up? But unfortunately, their parents are my friends. Therefore, I take the stance of, I don't need to be popular. This is what needs to be done at this point in time. Then I invite them to shorten their stay, so that if really you can't deal with what it is that I have to do here, then it's okay. I mean, leave. And we can find another way of handling that. But the other thing I do is make sure that you're talking to the parent at the same time. So the parent knows that this is where I'm seeing shortcomings in your child. So I feel as though much as, yes, we are seeing an entitled generation, we also need to participate in shifting that entitlement. Then there's connection. So, a lot of the time we say that what our children need is actually time. While I agree with that, there's parents who have taken time and mixed it up and ended up suffocating their children. So they end up spending so much time with their kids, but the time has no quality. So we have a whole range, and like, they do come for therapy where they're with their parent all the time. Then the parent is wondering, what haven't I done? I'm with them all the time. I take them places. We do things together. How come they're still having a problem? And it's because connection is something that is perceived. Posa, you cannot go telling people that Shalom has connected to me unless Shalom tells you that she feels a connection. So we can't go saying that we connect with our children when our children have not been the ones telling us that we connect, or I feel like I have connected with you. I feel like you get me. And unfortunately, we have a whole lot of kids who are actually telling their parents, Yeah, you're my closest friend. Why they need the parent to shut up? They need the parent to just leave me alone. You already don't listen to me, therefore, you know what, you just continue believing that you're my friend. I'm waiting. When I turn 18, I will look for a university the farthest corner of the world. So there's connection needs to be perceived, understood, and then communicated back, right? So spending time with your child without listening is not connection. It's just really spending time. And I think you're wasting precious time in their life if you're not giving them a chance to connect back to you. When it comes to our dear Andrew Tate and his other namesakes on the Kenyan shores, the Namasole people are not necessarily experiencing Andrew Tate. But like I said, because we are in a global space, their parents are interacting with men who are modeling their ideology after somebody like Andrew Tate, and they're doing that thing of going back home and this is how it should be done in my house. We have boys who are totally disrespecting their girlfriends at the ripe old age of 14, 16, you know, because that's where they're getting the language from. Several things it has done, it has ended up increasing a lot of femicide and relationship murders, right? Yes, exactly, and raping them. It has increased that a lot because of that thing of trying to subjugate the woman, and it is starting at a much earlier age. So is Andrew Tate a good idea? I don't think so. But I had this short story. I had an interesting engagement one time with a father and his daughter, and they were talking about Andrew Tate. But the way they described Andrew Tate, the daughter was in her early 20s and she called him a misogynist. The father was in his early 50s and he said that he's a gentleman who knows what he's talking about. So listening to what they were saying, each of them was looking at what Andrew Tate has to say, and they were looking at it through the lenses of their experience. Why am I saying this? Is that there's going to be a lot of content online that if we don't look at or what's called filter it through the ears of our teens, we may end up looking at it as though it's a natural thing. So when we call problems small, when we minimize and dismiss the issues that they are going through, we need to step back and ask ourselves, what lens am I looking at? Am I looking through? Am I looking at this issue that my child is raising based on how strong I am? Or am I actually looking at it based on how strong they are? So what Andrew Tate has come and done is actually made a lot of noise about things that were existing. I don't think Andrew Tate is a new thing. He's just a loudspeaker of what's actually happening in the world. He's really just the voice. He's the one who has found a platform to make noise. But I feel the Andrew Tate thing is happening across the board, and it's not just because of Andrew Tate. It's because people have reached a point. There's that issue of us empowering the girl child, and we ended up disempowering the boy child. So we also have a whole lot of frustrated males who will take it out on the females, and I don't think everything is Andrew Tate's fault. Society itself has become sick and is not supporting certain genders in terms of growing, or in terms of growing the resilience that's needed. Back again to that magic word. I hope I'm still on the train.
Hii train tunapoteanga tunarudi, but we talk about everything. Okay. So I don't want us to miss this. The role of mental illness, like legit mental illnesses, depression and substance use disorder in because we are still talking about suicide. Substance use disorders and mental illnesses. Shalom, of course, because you are the last one talking, you're on my screen.
Let me take a stab at it from the mental disorders or mental challenges, first and foremost. Mental challenges are coming about for different reasons because there's what we call biopsychosocial factors that actually would make somebody have a mental health challenge. Some are biological. Because of diet, genes, and many other things, we are having hormonal differences or hormonal imbalances in the body that are causing certain problems, which end up becoming mental challenges. And the biggest problem with the presence of information is that if you just Google any of the symptoms that you think you have at a time when you're stressed, you can come out with several disorders. Why I'm bringing that up is because we have young people who are misdiagnosing themselves. When I say misdiagnosing, I mean they really should be getting diagnosed with something, but they're ending up misdiagnosing themselves based on the information that they're consuming online. So number one is that, what would I call it? The presence of mental health issues, both legit and distorted. Not illegitimate, but distorted. Then the other thing is to understand that the social space, we had mentioned earlier, I think it was Mukimba who mentioned earlier about social media and the effect that it has had. The social space has also put a lot of pressure on us to be a whole lot more than we probably can be. Therefore, we want all the followers, we want certain responses to what we are doing. And you can imagine if that is already stressing a grown-up, by grown-up, I mean an adult who's way over 35 years old, it's messing up our children even more. But every time they post something, the expectation is for it to be viral. When the expectation is for it to be viral and it doesn't become viral, they get disappointed. Now, life is such that there's going to be disappointment all the time. Globalization, the shrinking of the social space has made it such a way that disappointment has become chronic. Therefore, many of us are living in a space of chronic stress. We are stressed over and over and over and over again. Before the brain can even recover, stress has hit you again. Family settings, that's again under the social aspect of things. Family settings are causing a lot of problems and ending up transferring that mental illness across to our children. We have women who have been depressed for a very long time, whether it started as postnatal depression or other forms of depression, but they have handled it in a way that it has ended up transferring that stress to their children. And I'm saying that because today's focus is on the adolescent. So mental illness within the family is passing on to our children by association. They get stressed, the expectations are high and everything. And at some point, quote unquote, and a way of just simplifying this, their brain gets broken. It has suffered so much from when they're children that the adverse experiences that they have had just become too much until they really can't handle it and they need to find ways to cope, which end up being erratic. That introduces substance abuse and substance use, right? Now, when it comes to substance use, a lot of it, substances work, which is why they're there, right? Substances work in helping the person taking them manage better, manage with whatever their problem is. And what I'm finding is the more the substances are available, the more immediate the solution is, and the less the ability to cope with problems is concerned. So substance abuse, like I was saying, I think I mentioned earlier, somebody taking a drink or, taking some drugs, crossfading, and they end up dying. It's getting us to a place where we have an unhealthy relationship. You feel a certain pain, take Panadol. Small headache, take a cup of tea. Now, what our children have done is a little stress, take something to make you forget. But we get used and our body builds tolerance. Therefore, we end up taking a whole lot more or needing more to achieve the same issue that we have. So yeah, that's one of the things that I'm seeing going on when it comes to those two. And they are affecting the space where our children are as far as even, what is it called? Pushing through life is concerned. Yeah. Over to you, Posa.
Mukimba, the same question. And for you, I want, because leo ni kuongeza kila kitu, the issue, let me frame it this way. David Carradine, we are old shallow. David Carradine, if you used to watch, I know, we used to watch Shaolin Temple. He was the martial arts guy. He died by hanging. It wasn't suicide. It was an autoerotic hanging, like as in he was yeah, this is adults. He was hanging himself so that he can get the high to get an orgasm. Okay, there's an equivalent thing happening around TikTok. Okay, just social media. Children are also doing all these hanging games and you know the one Shalom said, the stupid suicide. Could you just touch on it? I don't know. Kama kizungu imeisha, you just alert me or ask Saya to translate from my Namasoli English. But just the same, could you comment on substance use, especially substance use and mental illnesses, and this stupid, Shalom Niwewe, stupid suicide? Yeah. And it was you. Okay, Mukimba, go ahead.
I think it was very important what Shalom had said, that substances work, right? A lot of us, we kind of brush through that conversation on drugs and alcohol, and we're like, drugs are bad, don't take drugs. Drugs are bad for you, right? But drugs work, right? They're an incredible coping tool, an unsustainable one, but an incredible one. In replacement of that, I think it's very important to teach children to cope with difficult emotions. Young adults need to know how to process their feelings in a healthy way. And that begins with modeling, that also goes ahead with actually having those educational conversations on coping tools and processing of emotions, and being able to sit with distress, right? And to be able to tolerate distress. I'm a CBT person, so of course I go to the extent of physiological, calming of the body, right? Exercising, being able to take a breath, being able to somatically release some of the stress in order to address, the emotional distress. Yeah. So teaching coping tools can go a very long way in allowing our young adults to feel prepared to sit in the distress. We haven't modeled very great tips, because obviously most of the generations don't have great or healthy coping tools, but it is easier modeled, but it also can be something that we teach in schools, how to process emotions, how to sit in distress, how to be able to cope with life on life stamps in terms of just physiologically processing it. So this person may not have all the other stuff working out for them, but they can process their difficult emotions when they do occur, especially physiologically, right? That is honestly the only solution I find that is available that can replace things like drugs and substances, right? Because distress is painful. That is why it's called distress. So it is easier to handle it physiologically, and teaching the young adults the coping tools could go a long way. I think also the fact that young adults experience a lot of reward. There's a lot of dopamine, and their dopamine receptors have been pretty overridden, right? Because there's a lot of reward without effort. And the way we were created is that we needed to be able to have effort and then reward. That was how the original body setting is. So we are developing a huge tolerance for dopamine, and obviously all this seeking of dopamine through either very risky behavior, sometimes body harm as well, has been shown to have a huge connection with people wanting to seek that rush, that adrenaline. And that also brings around to that autoerotic asphyxiation and all those interesting ways where, there are options. There are options to escape pain, right? There are options to receive pleasure. And when people don't know how to be able to receive pleasure or be able to stay away from the pain or handle the pain, they will go for those options, right? Because life is pretty distressing. We have to be honest about the fact that, yes, we are stressed out. And for young adults, it's also getting pretty stressful. So these options are available, and we are not giving them other options, right? Dopamine receptors, TV, social media, phones, PS, video games, all these things, they've already messed up even with some of us who just got introduced to gadgets in our teenage years. So obviously it's worse for people who've grown up every single second with reward constantly being thrown at them without any effort. So I think the reward without effort is definitely increasing the substance use. Of course, that brings mental illness and mental health issues as a concern. Also, being unable to sit in physiological pain and seeking physical ways to get rid of the pain that are not healthy, which can be, harming. Self-harm goes one way. And like, Shalom stated that sometimes self-harm or attempts at self-harm can lead to suicide. So that's how I've seen the connectedness of all of them put together.
Okay. Saya, if you know about third space, the loss of third space, Malipa Gumzo Mtaani, how has this impacted the teenagers? Saya.
So both virtually and in person, like originally we used to have, we've just given, so just to explain a bit of the third space concept, it's one of those places where language has been given to an existing concept. So from time immemorial, from the days we would cluster boys away for night stories with their grandfathers or take them away to for circumcision, and they'd roast maize and have chats, or when warriors would be out in the field and during a lull time or in the night watch, they would sit around and just have conversations, normally intergenerational, or in the cultures where beer drinking used to happen communally. I still feel a certain way about that whole idea. It was done cross-generationally, and the seating order reflected that. Then fast forward, when we became more urban, during urban design, there was a creation of open spaces or community halls or spaces where interactions could happen either organically or in a structured way. So for those who are not too confident about what third spaces are, that's what it is. We've seen the same happening actually digitally. There are some what are they called? Some WhatsApp groups or some Zoom. Actually saw a concept of a Zoom link that just always open where people can come in virtually. Now, third spaces have been lost. Speaking directly about Kenya, it's largely because of greed. Whether it's in my village in Namasori or in Nairobi, there's this insatiable greed for land. In the village, people are fighting for every available space. In the market spaces, back in the days, there used to be an openish field where people could play games and in the evening come sit and do their sugarcane and stuff. But with increasing population and poor planning and just downright grabbing, those physical spaces have been removed. Then homestead clashes have made it that the word here in my mind comes in Luo. It's called Olwanyi. Olwanyi just means the open space in front of the house. Okay, normally it used to be well manicured, or there would be a tree, and those would be the spaces where people would come and meet. But because of rivalries and pettiness, and some of it fueled by rural-urban migration, where Homestead X is getting more things from their people up country, in town than Homestead Y, people becoming more insular. So that's a loss of it in the rural spaces. In the urban spaces, it is, whether you talk about land grabbing or individuals just feeling unsafe having their children out there, or planning being done that those spaces are not there. What happens is the physical interaction, the human to human, touch to touch, voice to voice, face to face, has been lost. With the tragic loss of the third space, one other big, let me hold myself as I say it nicely. One other third space that has been lost is our schools. So it used to be that when you build a school, it needed to have a certain amount of space for play, for interactions and break time and stuff. But nowadays we have schools in the square footage of an apartment, or kids can't, they basically have break around their desk, and then we become so exam driven that they even barely take that break. So students are really in class, but they're really isolated because 90-something% of the time is them and the teacher, and then the remaining percentage is them and their break, them and their food, and them and their assignments, and very little human-to-human interaction time. What's this done? A few things. A lot of things in life are not taught, they are caught. Okay. And one good space to learn to be, one good cure against suicidal ideation is service, is the orientation about thinking about others, looking out for others, just removing attention from yourself. And third spaces were brilliant for that, because it taught you in the spaces, the way the interactions would happen, it taught you the ability to see others, hear others, reach out to others, feel out to others. When those have been lost both virtually and in person, it creates more room and space for people to begin thinking inwards with disastrous results. The second thing that has been lost is the social graces, the ability to have the minds clash, okay, change ideas, but have the fist and the lips stay still, where you could be able to listen to different ideas and different interactions without it becoming an what is it called, an echo chamber, where you're able to have your ideas challenged, or see and others model to you what good or proper behavior would be. And for adults, the third spaces provided a space where it was easier to almost organically gather teenagers together and be able to mentor them. So when you lose that, the social graces are lost. One good evidence of this is just sit right now with your average teenager, just sit with them in the absence of technology and see if they have the ability to initiate a conversation or sustain it beyond one-liners. It seems that even in the physical presence of human beings, they still need the mediation of a screen to have normal conversation or normal, ordinary interactions. See them, give them a gadget and see how they transform. And suddenly this reclused, almost nothing to say person gains a courage and a boldness to articulate or share or spread ideas over screens, and with the anonymity of a screen that the others cannot be able to do in person. Now, when life transitions from the make-believe world in the screens, few people ever show their fat side on Instagram or their unpolished pictures on Instagram. So when life moves from the make-believe world of social media and comes to the real world that we initially would have interacted in the third spaces, these individuals who've not learned to live and experience the third spaces are completely caught flat-footed. And what's more, the mediating mentors who needed to have been there, they don't know how to look for them, they don't know how to connect for them. Then as a career consultant, one key thing I keep seeing that is a third result of this is, even in the whole job hunting space, the loss of third spaces is impacting how the next generation is networking and looking for opportunities to add value. There's a statistics that says, I think something over 70% of the jobs in the world are not posted. They're not on LinkedIn or Indeed or anywhere else. They are elsewhere. They are by referral, or they are by word of mouth, things basically you will get through networking. Now, we do know that work is one of the good cures against suicidal idea and suicidal thinking, because when people get meaningful work, they're able to find meaning in their own lives. Now, if people, because they've lost third spaces, are unable to learn what it is to network by adding value and giving value and listening out to people and reaching out to people, it means their job hunt success is either dragged out, delayed, or defeated, with the net result that they end up reaffirming wrong thinking, like, you know what, things you hear back home is kazi hapa ni kujuana, which is you just need to know somebody for you to ever get anything, or you get reaffirmed in whatever bubble you have found is, when really what you're lacking is just pure human networking capabilities that would help you in your job search. So at the end of the day, when people have lost the third spaces, the fourth and final thing they lose is a space to develop a clear sense of identity. When we're in the third spaces, people will affirm you for certain things. And if you're in a healthy third space, people will also tell you what you're really not good at, so that you don't begin belaboring in a line that would be delusional, or the return on investment wouldn't be there. But because we are not there, and I think it was Mukimba who said, we are in this generation of everyone is a winner. So not only are you extracted from the place where you're able to be told truth, you're also now surrounded with voices that are telling you untruths. People are coming up with very imbalanced or even erroneous views about what their true identity is, what their true capabilities are. And when life will test them, whether or not they want it, life will test them. When life finally tests them, they snap, because they end up realizing, hey, I'm not all that. I'm not a bag of chips and a Coke on the side with the end of life. So the loss of third spaces are the things it brings, like play and learning and interaction and debate and all of that, is a catalyst towards a lot of the negative things we see. To you, Paul.
So Ploti Maguta, we need to stop, right?
Ploti Maguta needs to be added another plot ya kuchezea. So insist that we need open spaces and intentionally use them.
Okay, so this, I will sit down and cut off the third space bit and see if we can share the video. Muniombe. Okay, so let's go to, so how can you tell if a teen is suicidal? What are the signs we should look for? Shalom, because I know this is not your talker. Shalom, because you're the one smiling over there.
Posta, your moderation is actually quite funny.
If I was not me, if you come look for me, I'm sick.
And there goes one of the signs about how can you tell? I think
Okay.
whenever we try to answer that question, how can you tell when a teen is suicidal? It's impossible to tell if you have not been spending time with a teen. So you really need to know them enough to know that something has gone off. Somebody who meets you for the first time, Posa, and finds you talking, they can start psychoanalyzing you and start saying, why exactly do you talk the way you talk? Same thing we can do with our teenagers. So if I told you that a teen who's talking too much and who seems happy can be a sign of depression or a sign of something up heading towards a suicidal ideation, you may end up, and I think it's Mukimba who said this, you may end up panicking and going to parent your teen based on information that you have received. Whereas your teen is not that kind of person. Because again, we are parenting, we are trying to solve problems as knee-jerk reactions as opposed to developing the relationship. I think I had said earlier that connection will happen, and connection, correction, all of these things will happen on the basis of relationship. So the first thing to do is form a relationship with this teenager. Before you start looking for signs of suicidal ideation, form a relationship with this teenager. Because without recognizing the signs, that relationship may be the thing that they needed to get off the brink of suicide or being in a suicidal ideation space. So develop a relationship with them as much as possible. Then start asking them about themselves, and not from a grand inquisition kind of place. It's just from a place of getting to know them. Try and get to know them. And when I'm saying this even to parents here who think they know their children. Every so often, check and see, how are you doing? What do you like? What do you not like? What's going on in your space? How are you feeling? And do not take okay, fine, good as enough of an answer. Always dig a bit deeper. Now, what that means is you can't do it at your convenience. Sometimes you're going to ask a question They will answer you in short answers, then they will come and start telling you the story later. So the other thing to do to note little telltale signs is this teenager looking for you? And we like joking about teens looking for us because they're looking for their socks or they're looking for a jacket. If your teen stops looking for you for petty little things, understand that they have shifted their needs somewhere else. And I don't mean you must be needed all the time. What I'm saying is look out for those places where they come and ask you, do you remember where I kept my shoes? And have a bit of a conversation with them, even as you're telling them, go find those shoes yourself. Build into that relationship in little bits and pieces. Why? The more you're interacting with them, the better and easier it will be for you to tell, oh, something is going off. But then there are other things that are really, what are major red flags? Withdrawal. Even introverts withdraw in a healthy way. The withdrawal of somebody who's going to be likely to be leaning towards suicidal has a sadness and thing that goes with it, or like a hopelessness that accompanies it. They shrug a lot. They like saying things like, it doesn't matter. It's okay. You know, they have a disinterest and a lack of motivation for life and living. So you can look at the other things that are accompanying the isolation. And, you know, are they feeling like they need to come out of it at all? When a teen looks like now they have solved their problems, there's a very short space between hopelessness and having found a solution. When a teen suddenly has been depressed and then suddenly they're excited about things as though they have found the perfect answer, be careful. Because for some, not all, again, in this situation, not everything works. You know, there's no textbook answer to this. But in some cases, there's a very small window where the teen has resolved, okay, so this is what I'm going to do and I'm fine with it. And they suddenly become happy because of looking forward to dying, looking forward to being done with this pain. They're not looking forward to the end or leaving their family, etc. They're looking forward to that pain ending. So there's a short window of excitement, happiness, and relief that they may show at that point in time. The other thing to look out for is giving away material stuff. This happens in grown-ups, but also happens a lot in teenagers. Teenagers like owning things. They have this mine, and they also collect mementos from their friends. When they start giving them away, losing them, not having any interest in that, investigate a little bit further. It doesn't have to be suicidal ideation, but it can mean that now they no longer care or they're least bothered about life, which, if unchecked, can end up in the space of ideation. Then we need to get our teenagers out. There are signs that we may not see, but there are signs that we may breed unconsciously. There are signs that we may end up growing unconsciously. The more we say that they're just being a teenager, we like saying they're just being a teenager, we give them permission to be alone. We give them an opportunity to spiral downwards. Let's try as much as possible to pull our teenagers out of their comfort zones and out of their spaces. The zones that Saya was talking about, you know, the zone of comfort, zone of learning, and zone of overwhelm, with that little stretching, if we are not pulling them out of their spaces and getting them to try out different things, then honestly, we are going to lose them at some point. And it doesn't mean that every teen will go the suicide way, but that could be one of the things that gets them in that direction. Something that I have seen that has contributed, and I loved what Saya was saying about the loss of the third space. The other thing that has contributed to this loss of third space is dialer delivery. Right now, I can sit in the house and dial everything, and it will come and find me. I can switch on the TV with the remote, and the church service is going to find me in my house. So we have gotten to the place where we call everything to us, therefore shutting down anybody who's not a delivery person. And even for the delivery people, many times we will pay ahead of time, so they just come and leave the stuff at our door or whatever it might take. Like I'm saying, you will watch stuff on telly. There are little spaces where we would get to connect that would build resilience and build that emotional connection with other people that we have killed. So for our teenagers, insist that they go to church, even if you're going to church to socialize. I'm not saying be a Christian. I'm saying just insist on them going to some of these places where they're going to be forced to talk with strangers. Send them to shops. I know these shops have become some of the danger spaces, etc. But we can start getting them exposed to other human beings as much as possible, so they're not just dwelling within themselves. When we say, when you focus on yourself, that's a very small world you're living in. So we need to get them to explore the bigger world out there as much as possible.
And for the people in the US whose teenagers can work, expose them to work. Let them work. A few hours per week won't kill them. They won't lower their GPA. All you who want doctors and nurses, come on. Yes.
Please allow me to add, it's not just the teenagers who are in the US who can work. Even the ones who are here, available here in Kenya, should be able to work. Now, what happens is we are more likely not to have, like regular legal jobs for them, but there's nothing stopping us from using them as interns. Internship doesn't have to wait for campus to start. We can start doing that. We can encourage them to do small businesses. I'm finding many of them are doing things like, crocheting, jewelry making, card making, printing t-shirts, God knows what else. There's many things that they can be doing. And I like what Joanne is adding there about volunteering. We need to take them into spaces where they volunteer as much as possible. Work is not about an everyday thing. Work is not necessarily for pay. Work is work. Work is exchanging my energy, my brain, my skill, my time for the benefit of somebody else. Yes, sometimes I may get remunerated, but it doesn't have to be that way. All right, let's encourage them to work, again, to earn money, because when we are teaching them the financial skills, we are also making them feel significant, capable, and things like that. Yeah.
Yes, volunteering, and let them join an untoxic Pathfinder club, scouting club. Let them, and especially in here where they are biking trails, let them bike. And you don't have to be there chaperoning and zamboning them and doing everything for them and helicopter parenting them. No, they will be fine. And once you've taught them not to talk to weird looking people, they have that vibe, they will be fine. We are coddling our children too much. That's my pet peeve. Okay. Mukimba, same thing. What should we watch for?
Okay, I felt like Shalom covered a lot of the stuff, but I wanted to add on to one. Attention-seeking behavior, right? I've heard that statement being used a lot by parents, that your child is just seeking attention, your child is just trying to manipulate you, your child is just trying to get stuff out of you. But as opposed to what? Yeah, let's say I'm shouting from the rooftop that my house is on fire, right? And you can't see a fire. Maybe I need attention because I see a fire that you don't see. So at the end of the day, that I feel goes a long way for parents not to underestimate when attention is being sought. Give it. You brought your kids into this world. They are your responsibility. Give them the attention they need. And I'm not saying cater to every single one of their needs. I'm saying give them your time. Give them your quality time. Spend important time with them versus also necessarily spending all your time with them. Another tip that may help with trying to build the resilience and get to a place where young adults also feel prepared for life, I feel, is a parallel existence. Allow your children to see you doing life. I noted Joanne had said something about healing your own journey. Now, don't go to your special seclusion corner and do your healing journey on yourself without modeling the same in front of your children. Show them that you are at fault sometimes and you do go through life and you do process failures, and you do process not being able, you do even process insecurities. Allow them to see you do in life, have a parallel existence with them. Allow them to see you do life, and then also, if you're trying to improve your own resilience, show them what that looks like. Tell them all the ways you're trying to develop yourself. I've seen that goes also a very long way in teaching, rather than, come in with the pamphlets and all those things that you've learned, but you've not yet implemented. Being able to exist also concurrently with them, showing them as you do the life journey, as imperfect as it is. Don't wait to polish it up to present it to them. Allow them to see you do in life, and then they can also understand that if they fail, that's not the end of it. Another thing is also teaching your children problem-solving skills instead of being their problem solver. Whenever, from a young age, I think it's important for children to have options, to be able to make choices for themselves, and not necessarily, it could be even something as simple as allowing your kids to start dressing themselves from a very young age. Just allow your kids to have options and feel responsible for life, so that they're not constantly expecting you to be their savior. Something else I also wanted to add was how important it was for parents to have thick skin. Please be able to receive feedback from your children and also from other parents. Shalom had mentioned being able, and I could see myself squirm at the idea of somebody housing my child and telling me the ways I was falling short of raising them. But I think it's also very important for us to have thick skin, be able to receive feedback. Not all feedback is welcome or needs to be swallowed, but at least be open to listening to it. Sometimes grandparents also have views, and we are like, ooh, it's a different generation, we won't listen to that. But it's really important to allow people, for you to also be accountable to people, so that when you are also maybe over disciplining, somebody can be able to call you out on it. If you're also being really complacent with being able to address certain issues, somebody else can come in and be able to do that. And I think that comes with raising your children in some sort of community setting and having a lot more trusted people around. So being able to receive feedback and not being so squirmish, and having also a thick skin, I think it also models for them resilience, so that they're able to receive feedback without necessarily falling apart every time somebody doesn't agree with them. Something else is being able to listen. I saw Joanne write that a lot in the comment section. Please listen. Yeah. Don't listen to respond. Don't listen, for just a little minute and hear what you want to hear. I think it's very important for us to be able to listen. Listen to the signs. Behavior is also language. Listen. Listen to your kids. Listen to the people around you. Just listen, because at the end of the day, even parenting or anything else in life, most of us don't know what we're doing. We're learning on the job, right? Every kid is different. So even though you feel like you'd learned the skills for the first one, now with the second one, there's different things to learn on the job. And that requires an openness to being able to listen, to receive feedback, and to learn. I think that goes a long way.
Okay, because we are on the PTA story on the chat, let me pull up Saya. So what's the role of put on your fake pastor hat? What's the role of the church and the school in suicide prevention? And Shalom needs to tell me about these new PTAs that are not as acrimonious.
So the three things that churches and schools provide that are essential, I even need to say brilliant, in suicide prevention, when well done, because I know schools and at times churches can be not well done, are rhythms, relationships, and reason. I'll unpack what those three mean. So rhythms, relationships, and reason. So rhythms means, the thing we've said about people being able to practice out some of the doctrine in the case of church, or teachings in the case of school. So when well done, both school and church provide places where teenagers can build essential rhythms to life. They can become the third spaces where people exercise the theory of communication with each other and build it into real muscle. They can, when they're doing those pathfinder or missionary thing, they're actually building the muscle to think about others, engage with others, design people's needs, meet them adequately. So when well done, schools and churches can become spaces where people can build the rhythms, and rhythm is just nothing more than taking theory and getting the chance to translate it into practice. So one. Then the second thing is relationships. The suicide thrives in darkness. It's just the same way like democracy dies in darkness, suicide also thrives in darkness. When you have healthy, proper relationships, such as can be provided in healthy churches and in healthy school environments, it provides the spaces where young people can be mentored, and they can also get a sense of healthy and proper belonging, minus the baggage of dependence or undue expectation. It puts around them individuals who are able to demonstrate care, so they earn the right to speak into their lives, both words of encouragement and also words of admonition, because in life you need both. And so whenever well done, the second thing that those spaces provide is relationships. I can remember teachers who've been instrumental in my life, and it wasn't because they taught exceptionally well, but it is because of the relationship they had with me. I can remember my own personal journey into faith, and subsequently discovering my giftings in teaching were nurtured at Kibra Church, and largely with the people under whose care were able to identify that gifting. And so the relationship was important in that regard. And then the third thing is reasons. So early on in this conversation, we've intimated to the fact that one of the reasons a lot of suicidal ideation is there amongst many adolescents is because the reasons they build, the reason foundation they're building their life upon is fickle, it's weak, it's not tested, it's not thorough and stuff. And so here I agree on both school and church, but being a man of faith, leaning more, my best there more is on places of church, that when well done, this becomes spaces where young people are able to wrestle with the important questions of life and get a robust reason system that should be able to help them answer questions of meaning, of morality, of and ultimate questions like destiny and of origin. When well done, schools and churches, and for me more churches, can become spaces where those are done. And that becomes important because when individuals are becoming more suicidal, one of the things, and not the only thing, one of the things that can pull them back is when they have a transcendent idea of meaning that can be able to help them think beyond the immediate moment. And so if they are not equipped and they find and are taught or believe life is meaningless, it's empty, we are dust going back to dust, or we're just a random collocation of atoms and we dissipate upon our death, then there's little to pull them back. But if they're told they were created on purpose, for purpose, by God on purpose, that becomes a good basis. But then that's not just enough. It's important that this becomes spaces where they can go away from the surface of the creeds and the surface of the tweets, and they can be able to sink in the pylons that will go deep and hold on to something solid, so that they can be able to test the various options they have around and find genuine reasons for the worldviews that they function on. So somewhere between those three spaces, reasons, rhythms, and relationships, I think is a value that church and school can be able to provide to the young people and help prevent suicide.
So Shalom, could you just touch on the new 2.0 PTA, because the PTAs I knew back home were very acrimonious. What's this new thing that the land yonder, the beautiful land of Kenya, has found in PTAs?
It is not everywhere. Let me start with that disclaimer. We still have very many acrimonious PTAs. We still have schools that are being run like military camps, where WhatsApp groups of parents are not allowed, or when they're allowed, then the parents just go at each other and therefore make a mess of it. So it is not something that is everywhere. What I have seen is a few cases of success where parents are actually given a voice and allowed to have a voice in the school, but not only allowed, but they also stood up and took it. So they were able to coordinate things that would be happening as far as their children is their children's well-being is concerned. And so clubs, what is it called? What I noted were clubs where parents were acting as patrons as opposed to just leaving it to the school teachers. And then, okay, sorry, Sai has just totally distracted me with Mrs. Mbogo there. But so there were people who, the schools that I have seen that have allowed parents to come in and step into the club space, step into the mental health, and therefore invite people to come and have conversations with the children. Now, when the cheating in exams and other things became too prevalent, the government started putting restrictions as to who should interact with students. Then all of that was thrown out of many schools. But the ones that I have seen are all private schools where parents actually say, you know what, we shall be in charge of this aspect of our children's education, and therefore start participating and doing something better. And I have seen people thrive there. There's something else that you have said about schools, and I think it was about Starehe.
Oh,
yeah, about job shadowing.
Yeah, Starehe used to bring, when I used to work at, they used to bring their students to shadow.
But here's the interesting thing. It is not just Starehe who used to bring students to shadow. Starehe would develop students who are worth inviting into spaces and shadowing. I had a horror story. Okay, I'm one of those, because I work with teenagers a lot. I like getting them into spaces where they can actually get work experience before they even need to be choosing a career. So that they're interacting with doctors, even if they want to be musicians when they grow up or something like that. And so in the conversations with some of these organizations, they are getting into places where, similar to what you were saying about hosting Adventist children, they get into a place where they're totally fed up with the crop of people that are coming out. But this is a horror story I had recently, and this was about an institution that talks about uniform, and not just uniform, but they need to dress smartly. Because of the oppression of dressing smartly in the institution, when those particular students went for internship somewhere, they showed up in Crocs and socks and, you know, shorts and just casual, because they assumed that in the workplace they can show up looking however they want to show up. So I think schools are also getting to the place where they're no longer raising people who are worth being proud of in the workspace. And without partnering, the students are not getting into the workplace knowing what the expectation is. So workspace is not there to provide an opportunity. Schools are not building their reputation enough to be able to bring up a crop of people that can work in the space. And I think that leaves the parents to try and get this done for themselves. Are we able to have conversations with our own children? And this is not about being individualistic. You can form a group and do this with your own people. So if let me just take the people on the first line on my screen. Let's assume Posa, Shalom, Saya, Mukimba, and Anne Bogwa have children. Instead of I, as Shalom, worrying about my own child, if the 5 of us can actually say, can you find somewhere for my child in your organization? And we cross-pollinate, equivalent to cross-pollination of adding values and skills and experiences to our children, we are going to make a difference. So rather than sit back and think, okay, now what am I going to do? This is a hopeless situation. Who are your friends? Pick 5 of your friends and ask them to provide an attachment space for your child from the age of 13. But on top of that, open up your space for other people's children to come and work. This thing will not work if we wait for the government to come and sort it out, if we wait for social media to sort it out. It will work out if we actually take charge and do it ourselves. So schools are working. I was a parent in one of those schools. Schools are working. Yeah.
Okay. Train of thought, and we need to eat. I know we touched on self-harm, because Shalom, you're on the screen again, was talking. We touched on self-harm, I think the week we did the suicide amongst women. Could you just touch on that bit? Because I know in adolescents, does it translate to death by suicide, or they just self-harm and we are done?
I do not think there's anything like we just self-harm and we are done, but not all self-harm leads to suicide. There's self-harm that may degenerate and get to the point of actual death by suicide. And then there's self-harm that becomes other forms of coping that become lifelong and unhealthy, in the long term. Self-harm, the reason why self-harm happens is to alleviate pain. So for everything that whenever we look at something and we see, okay, we wonder why are our teenagers doing this? Let's look a little further and ask, what problem are they trying to solve? So when they're in pain, they're likely to cause themselves pain to distract themselves, to distract their thoughts from the external pain that's happening, the psychological pain that's happening. So they're stressed at home. When they cut themselves, it takes the focus away from that psychological stress and directs it to something more physical. So that's one of the places where self-harm basically begins. And then, because it is sweet and it's giving relief, this relief becomes something that they start yearning for. Now, in the places where self-harm gets to the point of death by suicide, it can be accidental, that's one, or it can be a culmination of, I'm so tired of even harming myself, let me just cut deep and final. So cut along and versus cutting across. There's the one that will get you to bleed faster and therefore die. So there's all of that, where self-harm will lead to other negative forms of coping, or self-harm can lead to suicide. But not all self-harm goes directly to suicide. Yeah.
But then, Shalom, can you be the psychology teacher at my former university? Because you and Mukimba, as in all the whole, anyway, kila mtu leo kuja hapa. Can you just go back to my school, where I studied, and just teach? Because you guys are doing an awesome job. Anyway, Mukimba, do you have, yes, musikwe na kichwa kubwa. Mukimba, do you have any thoughts on self-harm?
Yeah, I wanted to add on to this. I think sometimes we limit self-harm to the actual just physical addressing of harming themselves, but we also need to add purging, we need to add eating disorders, and a lot of self-sabotaging behavior in that crop of what self-harm looks like, so that we can also associate that with the suicidal tendencies and the suicidal attempts, and obviously successful suicide. It's important to also add on to self-harm is not only that the cutting and the burning, it's also to the extent of purging and some of these things, because we don't have the literacy and the language around self-harm and self-sabotage, right? People have gotten to the space where they're not really aware why your child is doing what they are doing, because it doesn't make sense, right? Especially things like purging and eating disorders. If you do not know what the signs are to look out for, most people don't know that these things are happening behind closed doors. So again, I guess connection is going to be very important for us to be able to, yes, binge disorders. It's going to be really important for us to have that connection so that you can tell the difference between how your child was before and how they're progressing, and be able to see those warning signs when it's early enough to see them.
Okay. There's fire in the kitchen, so we need to stop, drop, and roll. So how are we stopping and dropping and rolling? What should we do as a society? What should we do, and what should we talk? What should we tell the people, the left behind series, the parents, the siblings, the sisters, the brothers of those who are left behind? So what should we do as a society to save our teenagers and our young adults, and what should we tell those left behind? Mukimba, you're on my screen.
Okay. I had sort of narrowed it down to 4 points. It's a lack of resources. And I think at the beginning I'd said this, even though we Harambe and everybody brings what resource they have, and we see how we can be able to resolve this, it would make a huge difference. I feel consistent, reliable, and predictable safe adult connections are important for every single young adult in existence right now. So even though it absolutely isn't you, it has to be somebody else who aligns with your value system. Don't wait for the teachers to do the job. Somebody has got to do the job, and hopefully they're from your household. So being able to have that has made a lot of difference. In adverse childhood experiences, we talk of resilience buffers, being able to have somebody who comes between the tough parts of life and sandwiches that between the life and crisis. The second thing that would be very important is having an internal critic or an internal parent that's not critical, right? Oftentimes, when you see young adults who are struggling, I've noticed their internal dialogue is extremely, extremely painful to even think that that's how their thought pattern is like. They're very critical of self. And a lot of that has come from the damage from, yes, even the conversations that are had at home. So being able to rewire that will involve a lot of positive self-talk for them, which has to be modeled by the actual conversations that are being had around the household. So we may need to be a lot more careful even with the things that we say. We're just saying on a light note, because again, it's a sensitive generation. They're absorbing a lot of things, so they better be absorbing a lot more positivity from the household, such that at least that internal critic is not as painful as most of the internal conversations that I see young adults having with themselves. The third one, and I really insist on this, is coping tools. Again, CBT, I feel it's very important for us to have coping tools. We cannot walk around without, our first aid kit for just dealing with life on life's terms. Life is hard, and we need to be able to look within ourselves to calm our bodies down, to calm our minds down, and getting the resources of a bunch of coping tools, teaching them to the children. Probably this can be better addressed even in institutions, but being able to teach young adults to have coping tools. And my fourth one was eliminating reward without effort. Even with the gadgets, I mean, we have to accept the fact that the world is what it is right now. But dopamine without effort is very dangerous. Even with the little that we know about it right now, it's extremely dangerous. So it's going to be very important to at least allow our young adults to have access to reward after effort has been put in. So even though it means chores before TV or some type of effort that is done before they get to access all this reward, is going to be very important. It also reduces the amount of entitlement and creates a very resilient bunch of young adults. Yeah, I think those are my 4.
Shalom, if you have mambo, are you also mambo manne ama mambo mengi?
Yangu ni mambo matatu.
Okay.
I was just reading the question or the comment from Africans for Mental Health about, and I think Sharon has summarized it, about normalization of alcoholism and this thing of celebrating until we get to the point of substance use disorder, but it becomes substance use culture. If you can I don't know, I don't know when the last time is when you took a walk on the streets of Kenya, but you are very welcome to soon. And you will not take 3 hop, skip, jumps before you find an alcohol outlet, you know, like a wines and spirits shop somewhere. All it requires is a little door with access. We have it at dial delivery of alcohol and everything. Kenya has become a drinking nation. Therefore, alcohol is no longer even the big thing as much as the things that our teenagers are combining with that alcohol. It has become very, very easy for kids to just go to the shop around the corner. You will even think that they have just gone to throw out the trash. In the time it has taken to throw out the trash, they have gotten a 250 ml bottle of vodka. Once upon a time, the government decided they're going to get rid of sachets. I think when we were growing up, sachets were very popular, and they assumed that that is what was going to stop the drinking. I think what has happened is things have become worse, because I think the minimum alcohol you can get like in a proper bottle is about 250 ml, and it costs 250 shillings or somewhere thereabouts. Children are having to drink the entire 250 because they need to get rid of the bottle, and they can't throw away a bottle with alcohol. So at this point in time, I'm thinking almost sachets would have been slightly better, because at least it was just a few ml that they would need to finish at any one time. But anyway, it is like you're saying, it's a subject for another day that is so long. My mambo matatu would be about decision making. Decision making is a competence that I think we need to teach our children. It starts from, and I don't remember now who mentioned it, when you give a 3-year-old permission to decide what they're going to wear, you're starting to teach them the art of decision making, where they're going to sit, as opposed to deciding all of those things for them. You're starting to tell them that they have an idea. So that they have an idea that is worth following through. So teach them how to make decisions. Alongside the teaching how to make decisions, this is number 1A, not number 2. Alongside the teaching to make the decision, is teach them that there are consequences to the decisions that they're going to make. So that we're not just leaving decisions as just a decision. There's a whole process when it comes to decision making. So when they're making the decision, you're starting to teach them how to think through the decisions that they're actually making. Then the second point is to encourage and allow autonomy. That's giving them that internal center of control, where they're able to feel that they are able and capable of making that choice, and not just that choice, of thinking through what they want with their life. And this is for teenagers, but again, it starts when they're young. Then the third thing I'd like to say is invest in those who are spending time with your children. Many times when we have these type of conversations, sometimes parents may feel like we are asking that they drop everything and be parents. However, in this economy and in the way things are today, that's not going to be possible. So at any one time, we are going to have other people minding or spending more time with our children than we possibly can, because our jobs are not allowing it. Our relationship status is not allowing it. We are not necessarily parenting with parents who are totally supportive or even economically able to have any one of us like stay home and mind the kids. So one of the things we can do is invest in these people. Yes, we may be getting house helps who are dropouts, but are we able to invest a few minutes in their life just to find out even how they ended up there? Because when we show some care, then they will get infected with that care and pass it on to our children. It's very easy for somebody that you care for to care for your child. So as opposed to thinking that you're the one who controls the entire space around your child and how they're going to manage their well-being, if you actually care enough for the people in their life, then those people will care for them. What does this look like? When you underpay and insult your driver, he will be the guy who takes your kid to buy alcohol, because to hell with you, you think your child is the best. So they will not care for your child. But if you're having certain key conversations with them, and you're, like Joanne is saying, humanizing them, they will also transfer that love, care, caution to the child, right? So that's what I would say. Teach decision making, including consequences for decisions, encourage and allow autonomy, and then as much as possible, invest in those who are spending time with your child. Yeah. Humanize them, humanize the caretakers, humanize the teachers. Thank you, Joanne.
Hey, Joanne. Na hatafungua mdomo hata nikimwambia ongea hapa, but we will be here. Hatafungua. But let me ask for the panelists, is there anything we didn't touch that you want to touch? For the audience members, if there's a question you want to verbalize and ask, you can raise your hand and we will give you permission to speak. While you're thinking of the vitu tuliacha huku kando, na deno ni 1 minute, usiongee for too long. Go ahead, Dennis.
No, for me, what Shalom said is something that people kind of don't see it when he said those A's. You know, we have these expectations that we put to our kids, and we're expecting them to get those A's, and this thing later on comes and affect these kids because they can't get to those expectations. As parents, we should see the kind of expectations you're giving to our children. We gotta meet them where they are. Sarah can be my witness. Me, I was in Dago. We never expected A's. You go to Dago, you don't expect an A. It's standard. You get an A, you're an outlier. And that thing helped me out so much that later on in life, I knew how to get up, dust myself, and move on. So expectation is something that we as parents needs to be very careful, because this generation, that is where they feel their self-confidence from. Was that 1 minute?
Yes, Imeisha.
Asante.
I thought I saw Africans for mental health. I thought your hand was up, unless you lowered it. My God. Joanne has raised her hand. Sharon, utakaa hapo kidogo kwanza. Joanne. Joanne, go ahead.
So this has been a really good conversation. I just wanted to add a small caveat, which is food for thought for all of us for this series. And that caveat is that we all have parts. And those who are psychologists might have heard of IFS, which is the internal family systems. And that concept tells us that each of us has different parts that rule or react or respond to things in life. And every single one of us has a suicide part. And that part becomes activated whenever things are not going well for us. And that part is the part of us that gets activated to take us out of pain, emotional pain, or sometimes physical pain. And so I want us all to, in light of everything we have had in the last few sessions, including this one, not to minimize when somebody has suicidal ideation, when somebody says they don't want to be here. Now, for the youth or for children, the language we use is very different from language we use for adults. And finding out whether a child is suicidal may mean using words like, do you ever wake up? Or do you ever think that maybe if you slept and did not wake up, things would be okay? Do you ever think that if you don't wake up, nobody will miss you? Because that tells you that they are thinking of death, not in the way we as adults conceptualize death. Sometimes the language we use around suicide may not be received so well by children, or received in a way that is cognitively appropriate, I guess, for the lack of better words. So children don't think of, I'm going to kill myself. They think maybe if I disappeared. A lot of kids think of running away, right? I know I thought of, I hate my parents right now, I'm just going to run away. But you don't think where you're running away to, right? We've seen all these memes of a kid leaving the house and taking their little backpack and going on the street, but they don't know where they're going. It's raining outside, it might be snowing, and then they're like, shit, this is not the thing I want to do. I'll go back home. So for suicide, same concept. The kid might be like, maybe if I died, my parents will be better off. Also from a point of struggle, for those of us who are single parents, for those of us who are in marriages that are not working, for those of us who might be chronically ill, children do not have the discernment to understand that what is happening with the adults has nothing to do with them. So it is super important for us to connect with children so that they can understand that what is happening around them with the adults around them has nothing to do with them, because sometimes the behaviors we see are an act of desperation, not necessarily what we call attention seeking. So I think it was Shalom or Mukinda who said that asking that behavior that may look like your child is seeking attention is truly a cry for help. So that's all I wanted to say. Asanteni, and I'll mute myself.
Asante. Sharon, is your hand still up or you ulishusha mkono?
No, it is still up. I had to give, I knew Joanne would say something deep. So, and she's covered some of what I wanted to say. So, and I'll sum it up very quickly. Suicide is self-preservation. It's not selfishness. And I come across people who express this, and you hear it, as Joanne has said, you hear it when people use certain words like, I want the pain to end, I cut because the pain I feel on the inside is now on my body and my brain can keep quiet. Like the things that there's wording that you hear that will tell you when someone is crying out for help. One thing I wish I could emphasize to Kenyan parents is let's please start having adult conversations in the presence of only adults and in the absence of children. How you talk about food, how you talk about your body, how you talk about mental health affects kids as sponges, they absorb it. I have met parents, who are shocked when their kids start expressing that they don't want to look like mommy because mommy says, etc. And the parents didn't realize that these kids were absorbing. These kids as young as 7, are starting to show signs of disordered eating. We really need to watch how we talk around kids. Disordered eating is on the rise. It is no longer a white people problem, please, Kenyans. It is not a white people problem. It is everywhere. And then especially disordered eating around undiagnosed or even diagnosed depression, anxiety, ADHD, and autism. So sometimes it's a chicken egg situation. You don't know which came first, but we need to recognize if your child forgets to eat, if, sometimes that will tell you something else is happening and they need to talk to someone. And lastly, let's stop victim shaming. Kenyans, we love to victim shame. We like to talk about how so-and-so asked for it. It's selfish that they hurt themselves. Why they're not thinking about their parents? And kids absorb this, and you stop being a safe space for them to talk about the things they know you don't approve of, either because of faith issues. And so let's just really, 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 when we say provide safe spaces, also watch what we are saying that makes kids, decide in their heads whether you're a safe space to share. That's it.
Africans for Mental Health.
Hi, everyone. My name is actually Joanne Oport. I just logged in with my nonprofit name. And Joanne actually invited me to this event. She shared it on her WhatsApp status. So hey, sharing events on your WhatsApp status. First, I wanted to agree with Sharon and say that this is not a white person problem. And I think sometimes maybe when we articulate things as a white people problem, we try to separate it out of our fear that these are things that have been going on from generation to generation. So death by suicide, using of substances has always been there in our communities, in our cultures. We probably just didn't have the terms that they have now that they use to define it, but those things did exist. It would be kind of odd to think that certain illnesses only popped up because they came now, but not to be honest with ourselves and say they were always there. We just didn't know how to operate around them, or to function around them, or to resolve them. My question is, so you've already recognized that your child has suicide ideation, and what's the next step after that? I know there's criminalization of suicide in Kenya. What's the next step in trying to get that person help? We can recognize the signs, we can ask the questions. We might not have the days to build those relationships to where we can ask those questions. What's the next step? How do they take care of it at a hospital? How do parents get the help they need for their children, or the people who are in the community who are designated? We always say it takes a village to raise a child. And so if Auntie Joanne showed up and asked these questions, what is the next step in getting that person the help they need?
Before Shalom and Mukimba take that, Joanne, if you go to our YouTube or our Facebook, the first series, the one we did on women, we had the lawyer who was supposed to come today, and at least she gave us the insights to it. There's still a lot of work to be done on the law side, but yeah, at least if you want to get the insights into the Kenyan law, that's the go-to video. They're all long. I mean, we've been here 2.5 hours. Yeah, they're all, we've stopped complaining. They're all long. But Shalom, Mukimba, what's the next step once, yeah?
I think I'd say therapy is one of the next steps, because yes, therapy will help for sure, because it gives them that the psychological support that they need. Mukimba was talking about CBT and the other techniques that would end up helping. But there are places where, back again to the parent needs to actually be on a healing journey themselves or be healed. So they're not taking therapy. I'll quote one of my clients and basically say they take therapy to be a place where people go and air their secrets. And because they don't want to talk about family secrets, they may end up keeping those children away from therapy. So what I say is that if you still think that therapy is a place of stigma, then put your child in a supportive peer group where they are able to have these conversations with others who are like them in terms of peers, not like them in terms of the struggle. And they will end up most likely getting to a place where they see they're not the only ones. I was having a conversation with a girl who has decided that, okay, not decided, she is a bit confused about her sexual identity, but part of it has to do with the fact that she's a tomboy. And so she was saying, where are people? Are there other people who are tomboys like me who are not necessarily studs? When we put our children in a group, we put them in supportive groups that are sort of going through the same life transitions with them, they're going to be able to find kindred spirits and therefore not take their issue to be as life-threatening as it may be when they're dealing with it alone. So in other words, what I'm saying is, let's help our children not to be isolated or lonely and have supportive groups around them. But I think the main next step of action would be therapy. Now, where therapy may not work, see a psychiatrist. Just basically see psychiatrists, psychologists, or clinical psychologists so that you can get immediate help. For some children, medication will be the first thing that they need to get their hormones balanced to a place where then they can still get the talk therapy. And if there are opportunities for group therapy, which is also what the peer group would do, then yes, that's one of the next places. And I think the fourth kind of space that I would say is related to what I said about the parent-teacher associations. Take charge of your child's healing. I have seen children turn around when a parent who had a child who was struggling but did not want the child having a therapy session on their own, got together a group of friends and invited psychologists to come and have group therapy sessions without calling them group therapy sessions. So that you still pass on the help that the child needs, you still psychoeducate them without necessarily making them feel as though they are the ones with a problem. That's what I would say would be a few next steps to take. Yeah.
Mukimba?
Okay, adding on to that, group therapy is fantastic. Family therapy is also incredible. Being able to heal as a family. Often, again, let's develop thick skin. It's probably something that happened back at home that's caused the problem. It's not the end of life that you made a mistake as a parent. It's okay, you can be called out on it and find the recovery together with your child. And again, it's not a quick fix. I think the hugest struggle I find with most parents is they want their child to come for 3 to 4 therapy sessions, sometimes even just one. And you want solutions. You want your child to be fixed. Again, they're not to be fixed. It's a healing journey. It is going to take quite a bit of time. It also will take a lot of work being done outside the therapy room. And that requires also core healing with your child. But it, again, I think, especially for the parents out there, it will not be a quick fix. I've had somebody say the mess that, you know, however old your child is, right? It's taken that long to get the amount of mess, right? It may not take 2 to 3 sessions, or it might also take the same amount of time, or probably let's just cut it a bit shorter, but it will take some time, maybe not as long as you think, but it will still take some time. So I feel like quick fixes is such, and even professionals who offer that as a solution, I find can be very dangerous, telling people that there will be just this one quick fix, we'll do this, and of course I will get rid of, you know, whatever, let's say like especially gender identity. I've seen people offering 10 sessions to fix your son from, you know, his gender identity issues or his sexuality issues, and that doesn't necessarily, that's not how it works. So it's very important that the quick fix approach is not something that somebody is looking for. And just take time. Family therapy, group therapy, talk therapy, and medication if necessary. Psychotropics also do have adverse effects long-term, especially for younger adults. So it's very important to note that if medication is not a necessity, because I think also people think medication is the quick fix. It's the one that will just, and they don't have to go do anything else. But it is better to go the route of talk therapy and group therapy and all those modalities rather than necessarily just going quickly for medication, especially on the young adult brain, because it's still developing. There's still so much that needs to be learned about medicating younger people. So that may be something to consider, but there is no quick fix to this. It will take time. We're also learning on the job. I feel like, especially as therapists, we're still learning so much. And the information that we get, we try and, you know, add on to whatever it is that we were using the day before. So yeah, that is my 2 cents.
Okay, because we need to eat, and okay, eat is because we need to end this. Saya tufungie. Yeah, I believe we'll have one more conversation around suicide, because we haven't touched I mean, I really needed us to have one on with imams and pastors, but it seems like it's difficult to get people pastors and imams who can come on Sunday, who will do this style of interviewing or panel discussion. But Saya, tufungie kituo.
You mean pastors and imams will just go with your train of thought?
I know, and they are supposed to be in my brain and be told I'm seeing you on my screen, and now ichukue tu hivyo. Okay.
Okay. You need a prophet for that role. Anyway, on a more serious note, thank you so much, Mukimba, and thank you so much, Munyiri. The M's just work better that way. Yeah, Sharon, it's not rhyming, it's Mrs. Mbogo. Thank you everyone today for showing up, and thank you for talking through this. Thank you for the conversations that have happened on the chat. this generally the chat has been lit today. So if you wonder why there's value in coming in, there's a lot that happens on the chat and also in tandem with the conversation. Life is precious and life is therefore needs to be guarded, and anything that diminishes the quality of life needs to be addressed. I want to trust that today we've learned important things, and that going forward, all this conversation with no application will be time worse than wasted. So you may be, your children are beyond teen years, you probably just need to step in and help organizations or other friends who are raising teens. Or you may be the parent who's going through raising teens and adolescents or heading to. I want to trust that this has equipped you with the resources. As a Bible believer, I find Deuteronomy 6 a very powerful thing to just share as we finish. It says, I think it's from verse 3 or 4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one." And then it's the next principle that for me is important for this discussion. "And these words that I say to you shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall do that when you sit down, when you walk in the streets, when you lie down. You shall hang them as frontlets in front of your eyes. You shall put them as signs on your eyes. You shall on your hands. You shall hang them on your walls." So that basically it will be a safeguard for you in the land that is ahead. So whereas we've talked today about teenagers, I think a good starting point is to remember those exact words that for the adults in Deuteronomy, the Israelites as were preparing for the promised land, what they were told is these things you need to first possess before you can profess. So we do know our teenagers are struggling with identity and finding their place in this ever-changing world and the pressures that are around them. And if we're going to be good at supporting them, we also need to have done our own work. We need to possess what before we profess. We cannot give what we do not have. So I pray and trust that we shall be able to get all the help we need, and that no other single teenager or adolescent shall have to limp through life with suicidal ideation, or God forbid, with suicide, end their life through suicide, just because they were not surrounded with all the resources, or they were surrounded with people who did not have the resources to help them navigate that situation in life. For those who've lost a loved one to this, our heartfelt thoughts and prayers go to you. And we pray that something of what has been shared today will help you rebound and get better in the journey ahead, that you're fine, it happened to you, but you will be healed and sustained so that it will not happen to you again, and that you will not live the rest of your life with the overwhelming burden of self-guilt or other things that put you down. And for we as a society, I think the many things government can do for us, but the one thing we can do for ourselves is to protect the mediating institutions, the institutions that mediate relationships, that mediate community, that mediate help and support. The bureaucracy and distance of government is such that they cannot be able to effectively affect those mediating institutions like our schools, our PTAs, our churches, our homes, our houses, our neighborhood associations. Those ones are abstracted from the reach of government, yet they probably are the most effective in today's discussion. So rather than us as being online warriors or looking for who to blame, I pray that something about this discussion is going to make us look internally and begin seeing which mediating institutions we may need to resurrect, sustain, or protect, because at the end of the day, they spend and they play an important role. Thank you once again. We encourage you to keep subscribing and sharing this video so that they can reach to many more. And we also welcome your feedback and your suggestions, because it helps us to know the next issues to be able to address. And in your suggestions, you can also suggest panelists or in addition to the topics that you would have us discuss. You You can find us on Facebook, Authentic Dialogues with Sarah Jackson. You can find us on YouTube, Authentic Dialogues, and there's a separate channel just called Sarah Jackson. Instagram is one Sarah Jackson. And so your thoughts, views, likes, share, subscribe there are important. If you want to get the services of Mukimba or of Sharon, please feel free to reach to us and we'll be happy to share with you. And please, the only way you can support them after they've given so much value for so long is please pay them for their services. Until next time, may we have victory over the things that we need to end. Peace to everyone. Back to you, Paul.
I'm going to stop the live stream for our 3 minutes in case anyone wants to ask a question that they don't want to make it to the interwebs. Our next topic, because this is us, is on ADHD. I know, suicide, ADHD, mutuambeange, but you're the ones who bring these topics. So our next topics in the month of May on ADHD. June, we'll have a short mid-year interlude, and then hopefully we'll come back in July. If you have topics, I feel like we need to discuss resilience. Yeah, just let us know. But I'm going to stop the live stream and then you can ask. And then because we have to represent the Namasole people, we need to eat. Bye-bye.